Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg. I hope you guys are ready to unpack and get into some good conversations today.
And I'm Jess, and this is our podcast, Baggage Claim. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Baggage Claim. I'm so glad you guys are listening to us. We want to encourage you, grab your favorite drink, whatever that may be. Depends on what kind of day you're having. Grab that drink, pull up to the table with us, and unpack as we gather around the table and get into some good conversations and hopefully create some community in the process. So welcome back. And Jess, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about communication and expectations. And that goes with whether it's your first or third marriage, or if it's friendships, anything to do with any of it is communicating and expectations.
Well, I actually have some stats that I've looked up that I found quite interesting and quite disturbing. And I hate to be the buzzkill right off the get-go, but we do believe, Jess and I have talked about this, if you want to have successful relationships, have good communication and expectations, clear expectations for each other, whether that be at work, whether it's in your even just in your friendships. It makes life so much easier. But even in marriage, it's so important, and especially in your second marriage you may be in. The median duration of a second marriage ends in divorce is about 7 years. So about 7 years is what you make in a divorce. If you are getting married a second time and you have siblings, you both have siblings.
Children.
Yes, like we did. I had two, you had two.
Yes.
The chances of that working out is 30%. So there's a 70% chance that you will not make it on your second marriage going in with kids. It really is sad. Like I mean, not that I bet a whole lot, but if I'm in Vegas and they're telling me I only have a 30% chance of winning, I ain't putting a lot of money on that. Yeah. I'm like, here's $5 and see what happens. I can lose $5, but we still make that choice. There are thousands and hundreds, probably even millions of people making that choice all across America, all across the world, every single day to go, it didn't work the first time, so I'm going to try the second time, and the chances go up astronomically whether you're going to make this or not. So I feel like for us, this is a huge, huge part of helping people to go, hey, let's dig into this. And just, can I say right off as we get into it, divorce is messy. Like we all know divorce is it's messy on both sides. Whether you're the person that you feel like created it, or the person that it happened to you, wherever you find yourself on that spectrum, we know it's hard and we know it's messy and it's not fun. And there's a lot of baggage that comes with that, emotional, mental, even physical baggage.
And it hangs on for years.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to unpack those. For us to do this podcast at Baggage Claim is not to say we want to encourage you if it happened to you or if it didn't or you did it. Wherever you're at on that spectrum, there's forgiveness. Like there's forgiveness if you did something that caused a divorce. Then that's okay. There's forgiveness. If you feel like you were the victim and that happened to you, that's okay. There's forgiveness. Let's unpack that trauma and just allow that scar to tell the story, but not become who we are.
So that you can be a healthier person.
Right. So you can actually have a better chance of making your second marriage work.
Not in that statistic.
Right. Yeah. You're in that 30%, not the 70%. So it's like, you're going to hear me say it time and time and time again. Don't be a victim. Be like the conqueror. Like take those things and try to make you a better person. So. What? Well, we just ran out of video for all of you who are here, but that's okay. So we may not have video on this one, so you YouTubers go to Spotify or Apple, or wherever it is, and just listen to us.
You just get to listen to our voices today.
And we get to figure this fun stuff out.
Yes.
So with that being, with our hiccups, I love doing this. This is so fun.
Yeah, and we're in our home, and we're just doing what we can.
Yes.
It's a heavy subject, but we can start off with a lighthearted.
Yeah, definitely. I took us down in the gully, like we're in the valley. Let's do a little climbing. Let's get out of the valley.
A funny communication and expectation story for us is we have 4 children between us. I had 2, Greg had 2. And at one point, all 4 of them were in a different sport in different places.
Yes.
And it's a lot of communicating, a lot of scheduling, and
a lot of carpooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We each thought we had communicated our expectations of who was picking up which child so that we could all end up at the youngest daughter's soccer game.
So here's what happened, because I'm pretty sure this failure of communication fell on me, because we had this rule, and we'll get into it later when we talk about expectations for our kids. We had this rule that our kids could only play one sport. Like, find your sport, love it, dig into it. You only get to play one.
You can try one at a time.
Right.
We're not going to try all of them.
Yeah, there's 4 of you. We're not living at the ball field or a gym or wherever it is, because you guys are going to leave us, and we want to love each other. So anyway, Thomas was doing 2. We made this exception, and I'm not sure why. I think
because it made it better at both sports.
Right, because he was cross country and mountain biking. Well, Callie was running cross country at the same time. So I had picked Callie up, and I picked Thomas up, and I dropped him off at mountain biking, and I had Callie with me. And so
I had the 2 younger ones because they were both going to soccer at the same complex, but not the same field.
Correct. And so the idea is that I was going to get Callie. We were going to do something. I can't remember what that lapse was, but I forgot to go back and get. So we show up at a soccer game.
You forgot to go back and get Thomas.
Yeah. So we show up at the soccer game, and I'm all excited because I'm like, whoa, we're here for my soccer game. Because I wasn't a fan of soccer until our kids played it, and then I actually really liked it. So I show up all excited to realize we're a child short. So
I was like, where's Thomas?
I proceeded back to mountain bike practice to get him. Luckily, it wasn't that far.
And his sweet little self was the last one there.
Yeah, I think that's one thing growing when our 4 kids just had the idea of like, it's funny now because they ration food. They would ration food of like who gets what, so growing up with a lot of kids gets kind of, it's interesting, but he was just kind of a roll with it. He's just in the middle, kind of roll with it kid.
Big old smile when you show back up to get him.
Yeah, he was just been riding, having fun.
He was just happy to get to the soccer field because I had a snack waiting for him.
Yeah, you feed him and he was happy.
Yeah.
So
that was miscommunication.
Yeah, and that's only probably one of so many more. If we sat here and thought about it long enough, we could have story after story after story. We we did have this. In communicating, it's pretty funny. This is a funny story too. Our kids, if they got, and we'll talk about our chart later with expectations in a later episode, but if kids got in trouble, they had to go for 15 minutes. They had to go to bed 15 minutes earlier in the bed. Well, Thomas and Cody were in the back of the van, and they were fighting back and forth or something. It led to it, and I was like, Thomas, I'm done. Like, this is it. I can't do it anymore. Like, you're fighting with your brother. We've asked you to stop. That's 15 minutes.
Off your bedtime.
And he's like, okay.
At that point in their lives, their bedtime was 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so I think it was summer because it was summer. So we let him step a little later. And so he's in the back there, and I hear him come back, and he goes, so you're telling me I have to go to bed at 10:85? And I remember going, I'm sorry, what?
No, it was silent in the van for a minute.
Yeah. And I was like, what? What did you say?
Help me understand that.
And he goes, 10:85. And I was like, I don't, what are you talking about? And he goes, he pulled his phone out of his pocket and he typed in 11 and subtracted
1100.
Yeah, subtracted 15 and it came up with 10:85. And he goes, so I go to bed at 10:85 and we all lost it. Like, it was just hilarious. I remember, and Callie
a few years later, Callie had gotten into making T-shirts on her little cricket thing. She had a little side business, and she made him a shirt that had a palm tree on it, and it said it's 10:85 somewhere.
Yes. I love that story of.
Oh my gosh!
And that was our lives.
Yeah,
10:85 somewhere. So we used that so many times, but just. Even the communication with the kids was always just kind of fun.
But we'll
and
get
crazy.
more into the kids.
Yes,
another time.
So for Jess and I, getting started in our marriage of communication is learning how we communicate. I had done group consulting for a long, long time. So part of my job for probably the last 10 to 12 years was learning how to ask really good questions to people and get information out of them. Like, that's Like we'd do an activity and then I would ask a lot of questions, digging, looking. So that was kind of a natural fit for me. And so even in this podcast, I'll ask questions a lot of times to you. And if you're listening, you may be like, dude, shut up.
No, but I need you to ask me questions. Not that you're pulling information out of me, but it just helps me to process, to be able to have a more direct way to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because for me, I'm just a curious guy. Like if you meet me, and I hope I do get to meet some of you guys, if you meet me for coffee, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions because I want to know you and who you are and how you work and how you got to where you are. And that's just curiosity side of me. So when we started communicating, I realized really quick
that I'm bad at it.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds when I just agree that fast.
It's okay.
It was really fast.
It's the truth. It's the truth, though.
I would ask Jess a question. I would say, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. I'd be like, okay. So, and then it'd be again, you can tell you're married, you know something's up with someone.
Even when we were dating.
Yeah. I would be like, so how are you?
I'm okay.
we were reading a book, and this is when it really hit me. We're reading a book called Crazy Love by Francis Chan. Amazing book for couples. If you want to go through that, great Bible. So it's pretty, it's older now. It's probably 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's maybe older than that. But anyway, great book. So we get to the book about the chapter where it's losing someone. And I'm like, I don't have questions for you. Like I've not been in your shoes. And I remember sitting on your back deck. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, she doesn't know. So I was like, okay, what do you think about this chapter? And you were like, oh, it's okay. Yeah. I'm like, what? That's it? Like it rocked my world. I had so many questions for you about, no. How do you do that? How do you think about this? How do you think about that? And so I realized then communication is probably not your biggest language. No. Like you love with your actions and your words of affirmation. You do that really, really well. It's when communicating more of that, you get some roadblocks.
Yeah. When I feel like it's probably going to be a negative or not so great, that's when I have the hardest time.
So if I'm saying, we're going to have a hard conversation, what's your first reaction?
Oh, no. I mean, it's really.
Which is a normal. I mean, most people, if you thrive for really hard conversations, like negative,
wrong with you.
You probably should go see a counselor. He give you some names. I mean, some people just love that.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, I'm not saying anyway, we should all see some counselors. But anyway, I think it's just like most people don't like hard conversations. So
no, but to say that we've conquered that piece of who I am versus the piece of how that reflects on you is not true. We have not conquered that. We still work on that.
We struggle with that today.
Yeah.
Like it was literally today.
This morning.
Yes. Yeah. I was frustrated. I was mad.
Yes. And Jess I was too.
Yeah. And she didn't want to talk about it. And I was frustrated that you wouldn't talk about it. And I was frustrated that you wouldn't bring it up so that I wanted to talk about it so you could talk about it.
Yeah. But I was still processing it. And you process things faster than I do most of the time. I still needed some thinking time, but you were already ready to ask 50 questions about it. But I didn't have 50 answers yet.
I know. And that was hard for me. And I will say I was frustrated. I was really upset. But it was just one of those things, one of the ground rules we have when communicating. And we did this today. I made sure not to do this today because I was getting emotionally charged.
You're getting angry.
Yeah. Okay. You can say that.
Yeah.
Not to yell. Like I don't want to yell.
No, and we don't raise our voices.
And I don't curse at you. I don't use names. I don't refer to you as names.
No.
I can't do that.
No.
It's not helpful at all, period.
No. We try really hard to still be kind even when we're in a intense fellowship.
Yeah. But this was and I'm just being 100% honest, and we probably, I don't know if we should share this, but like it was really like this. We come to a moment and you hugged me. We're in the kitchen, you're hugging me, and you said, I love you. And I don't know what within me could not keep it in. And it was just hard. And I said, I don't feel loved right now. Yeah. And when I said that, the look on your face, and I was like, oh, crap. I want that back. Like, I immediately wanted that back. I was like, there was truth to it. Like, there was a lot of truth.
But then you were still like confused as to why I needed to walk away.
I know. You did walk away. And I was like, wait a minute, don't leave. Because
like,
I think
I gotta go in this other different room from you right now. Okay.
Okay, so that's another thing that we've done. Okay, we don't raise our voices, we don't yell because it's not constructive. We don't use names. But we also know.
Would it feel good to do that sometimes though?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, I grew up in a very. My mom, bless her, I love her to death. But my dad was a train wreck. And so there was lots of throwing, there was lots of screaming, there was lots of yelling, lots of cussing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, throwing stuff at you, violent toward. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I steer away from that. But there's still a part of me, even in like a couple of weeks ago, I got so frustrated. I just walked outside and I just wanted to just slam some things down. But I'm like, I can't. That's not helpful.
It was not frustration at me. It was a different situation.
No, it was a different situation. But I
have to put that disclaimer out there.
So even for us, it was like, okay, I'll let you go to the other room.
But then you followed me.
But yeah, I couldn't, man. I just couldn't let it sit. I was like, I gotta resolve this.
Yeah.
And so I did. I approached that easier and just like tried to.
Yeah.
And we got to a place we wanted to be.
And it's not who's right and who's wrong. It's more of we got to understand how each other's feeling. There's a lot of people that would rather feel right and you need to be wrong. But that's not the point of communicating. Communicating is to literally understand how each other is feeling and then figure out a way to meet in the middle.
Right. If you're communicating just so I can tell you what you need to know, then you're already messed up. Like that's not the right path. So it's trying to figure out how do we do that like it is right. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about understanding. And that's what I always say is like if you want to up your communication game at work or in any relationship, start with the curiosity of wanting to know the other person. Like, why are you mad at me? Like, why are you frustrated? And not just the fact of I didn't take the trash out. I'm sorry, I didn't take the trash out, but what? Is there something more? Like there's more to that.
Right.
I always say every issue has a root. You just got to keep pulling and pulling until you find the root.
But that's where you're better than me at communicating because you will keep asking questions, even if I am not prepared to answer them, or I might need, sometimes literally a whole day to think to get to that root. Right. Just because it's not easy doesn't mean that I don't have to try. When in the past, I probably would have just shut down and not tried because it's not easy for me to communicate.
Right. And so we ask questions of each other sometimes that some people may think, why would you want to know that? But we'll be doing something. I was like, hey, did you and TJ, did you guys ever do this? Or did you guys ever have this? Because I want to know. There's a part of me, and I know in a blended family that you just want to act like that previous life didn't happen. And I know that's completely crap. Like there's no way to live that life. So it's like, I want to know that. I want to know that about you. I want to know that side of you. Those 12 years. And it's not that those were bad. Those were good years.
Yeah.
The previous years I was married, those were good years. I mean, we had two wonderful kids out of that. Like that's a great thing for everybody. And so it's like, let's lean into those and talk about the good things.
Well, through you being so good at asking questions to figure it out, helped me learn that I would, and when I was married to TJ, and also we started dating when we were kids. So there was some maturing together in some ways, but other ways it's kind of like, we were playing house for a long time, it was just, fun. But I realized to myself that I would let things bottle up and just pretend like I was okay and then just blow up rather than piece by piece talking about things just because, like I said a little bit ago, because it may not be happy or it may be bad or it may make him or you feel bad of where I'm at, if that makes sense. Like negativity, I don't thrive in a negative environment. So I'm not going to put negativity on you or at you.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, when I realized, I was like, oh, we got to figure this out. When you would have the way you would start a hard conversation was through a text.
Yeah.
And it's usually when you would leave to go to work, that drive to work or the drive home, if something was said or something was done, I would get a text of this really deep thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's like you just left and you're going to throw that hand grenade out here
Yeah.
and then just keep going. So we realized early on, I said, okay, we can bring those conversations up on text,
but not continue.
We're not going to discuss them through a text message. We're going to have that face-to-face conversation.
Yeah.
But it makes that starting the conversation so much easier.
For me, it makes it easier for me.
Yeah. So when you come home, I'm like, okay, let's talk about your text.
Yeah.
What brought that on, or where's that coming from, or what's that about? And so it made that so much easier for us. Now, for you out there listening, that may or may not be the thing for you. If you're like, no, I wanna have this. Be very, very careful when you have really hard, deep conversations to a text message.
Yeah.
You can't read body language. You can't read
tone.
No, none of those things.
No.
So I always encourage, have that face-to-face, whatever that looks like, and just dig into it because it's tough. And remember, you're not trying to win the argument. You're trying to understand where they're coming from. You're trying to understand what they're thinking.
What about when I just need to share my feelings and I don't need you to fix it? When I am brave enough to share my feelings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As a guy, I mean, that's a natural. If you're a dude out there and you're listening to this, your probably normal natural reaction is when someone says there's something wrong, your first notion is to, how do I fix it? And that's just who we are. That's how we're wired. So it takes a lot for me to step back and go, okay, where, if I really want to fix this, I need to know where she's coming from or how she's feeling this way or why she's feeling this way. She probably doesn't even know why she's feeling this way. And so then that's why I try to lean into just be quiet and listen, which is hard for me because I do like to talk. I think I'm a good listener, but
you are. And most of the time when I do come to you with something, I do want you to fix something.
Sometimes. Yeah. You want advice. I don't know if you ever do it or not, but you always want advice.
I do listen to your advice. Yes, I do.
So this communication thing is what's crazy too, is because Jess and I, as we started looking deep into it for ourselves, we realized how we communicate has a lot to do with our personalities and how we're wired. And those things come from how we're wired, and how we communicate comes from, even how we were raised, the schooling, our environment. So many different things go into that. But you don't realize your personality is connected to how you communicate so much. And so what we did is we did a personality, a little small. I think it was the DISC profile.
DISC profile, yeah.
It's very simple. Like, you can go in depth as you want, but you don't have to go. If you just want to know some cool things about yourself, go for it. We just did a small DISC survey that just told us about our personalities, who we were.
And told us that we are literally opposite.
Yes, we are completely opposite. But then as we dig deeper, we realize their communication styles attached to those different personalities and how we communicate. So as we started reading those things of how those communication styles connected to the personality, we're like, whoa, that's totally you and this is totally me. You have to let somebody let your other person read that, because sometimes I tend to try to skew the profile to make it say what I want it to say, but answer the questions truthfully. But when we started looking at that, we're like, whoa,
yeah,
that's crazy how closely they're connected.
And we had done that when we were after we got engaged, we started going to premarital counseling together, us and the children. And we did those profile assessments there too. But
we did. When
we just did it within the last 6 months or so with our small group, it was refreshing to see those again.
Yeah. And so I would encourage you guys, if you're, we'll get into this in our other section, but we have something for you to help you unpack some of that down the road too. If you're dealing with that communication, even if you're not, and you think you got communication nailed, you're like, oh, I got this, then you're lost in that. You have no idea what you're doing.
Because I think the biggest thing for where you and I were at when we met is that we knew who we were. Like, I knew who I was. I was confident in my own self, although the communication part apparently needed some tweaking. But you got to know who you are, and you got to know how you communicate so that you can be a good partner for the other person.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The best way you're going to be is be the healthiest version of yourself.
Right.
Like whatever. And I know we talked about that some in our first episodes, but it's not just emotionally, it's mentally, physically, like all those things. Like,
and that goes with this too. You need to know what your communication style is.
yeah. And then when you figure this out, start watching it, not just in your marriage, but how you communicate to your kids, how you communicate to your people at work, your coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy because it goes all over. When you start changing things, you'll see how things change around you, too, in those relationships. So
and it's not even just changing, but just that you're more aware of it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So anything else to add in communication before we jump into some of our unpack kind of stuff?
I don't think so.
So we want to do something new on the podcast. We're just going to call this kind of like we turned the corner. We've shared some of our stories. We shared some of the stuff that we're in or where we're at. And there's so much more to communication. Like we'll talk about communication a ton on this podcast as we go through it, just because it's a central part of that. We didn't get into expectations a lot tonight, today, or whatever it is. I can't remember. But whatever it is we're in, I want us to talk about. Do we want to jump into expectations now? Do some of that?
Sure.
All right. So we'll try to make it quick as we can, for you guys. So if you're on your ride there, expectations. What's one thing you expected in marriage that you were completely kind of like thrown off by?
That's a hard question. Okay, how about let me flip it back on you. What was something an expectation that you had for when we got married?
I thought you would be better at talking.
Oh, well, we've just proven that I'm not.
But it's not it's not, that's, again, it's an expectation. So it wasn't, it wasn't bad. Erin Grace thought I was the better cooker out of the two of us.
She did.
So
8 years old. Is it weird that the daddy's a better cooker than the mommy? It's like, no, not in this house.
But that wasn't an expectation for
No.
me. So did you have one?
I don't remember that I did. The only thing that keeps coming to my mind that I feel like probably is an unmet expectation just for you is that maybe I might be better at putting laundry away.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't get to touch the washing machine or the dryer. I don't, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. But I do a lot of other things besides that. So
you do.
We did one thing too that, and I would encourage you guys to do this as far as expectations, because we kind of sat down, and you may be married for 7 years. We were married for a long time before we did this. And I was like, okay, what do you expect from me? Like, not even from, because communication goes into that some. So it's like, do you expect when there's a problem, we discuss it? Do you expect me to have the house clean?
Right.
Do you expect me to cut the grass every week to 2 weeks? Do you expect me to, am I washing the dog? You washing the dog? Or are we, like, who's doing what? Like, even the more detailed you become in your expectations with each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can just be, if it needs to get done, like
just whoever notices it, just
dishes in the sink. But be careful of that, because what happens,
you spend more time at home than I do because you work for yourself.
I always notice the dishes.
You are the one that notices the dishes.
Yeah, because I do real estate, so I work by my at home most of the time. And so, I'm doing a lot of picking up the groceries, putting the groceries away. I do a lot of the cleaning the kitchen, those kind of things, take care of our animals. But I don't mind those things either. You have to figure out the balance of those, though. It can, and if you don't discuss them, and she expects something of you, you expect something of her, and that's never vocalized, then you can't be upset that it didn't get done. But you guys have to talk about those. And it's a conversation, not a demand list. It's not a, you do these things, I'm going to do these things.
Yeah. It's how to work together.
Yeah. That's the communication comes in really handy when we're talking about those two things hand in hand. So would you agree?
Yes. So how do we help our friends listening start down this road of communicating?
Okay. So this is the point where I was talking about, we're going to have a section of our podcast where we call the turning point. We unpack. We almost turned.
We
put the blinker on, but we didn't turn. So
now we're going to unpack this with our friends.
Yes, we're in this section. We want to give you a couple of things that we have done that just really kind of, that you can do at home to just kind of unpack some of these things and get started and working in the right direction. So we have this activity we've done several times. We've done it with couples. We've done it with each other. And it's really fun. You can do 10 minutes or you can do 20 minutes. Don't do less than 10. I would suggest 20. Do this in an afternoon. Wait till the kids have gone to bed if you have kids. Wait till you've put all them down. Whatever it is, your quiet time. Maybe you do this at a date. It's it's a date night. You're going out. And your date night may be a coffee at Starbucks. If you're strapped on cash, we've done that. Starbucks may be expensive. A date night could be a coffee at Waffle House. It's way cheaper. But whatever it is, you take, let's say 20 minutes. So you and I are doing this. For the first 10 minutes, I'm only allowed to ask you questions. That's it. I can't respond.
Just questions.
Can't respond to anything you say. I can't agree with you and go on a tangent. I just ask questions for 10 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. When that timer goes off, you swap roles. You start asking me questions for 10 minutes, and you can't respond at all. And so you do that, and you will be amazed at how much you can just find out or just how fun it is just to ask questions with no ulterior motive. Like, I'm not trying to find anything out other than just curiosity.
Yeah. The last time we did it, we both got emotional.
We did. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But that's one thing for your communication is to start doing that. One other thing I would encourage.
Well, it helps train you to be a listener.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. Because listen to what they say and ask the question off of that. Don't roll in with, if you're doing this, and I know how some dudes would think. They'd be like, I'm going to Google top 20 questions to ask my spouse, print those out and carry them with you. Don't do that. For real, be engaged in the moment and just ask some questions related to them, that person sitting in front of you. Be engaged in that. So that's a huge part of that. So I was going to share something else. And
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, my ADD kicked in. I have no idea where it went.
It's okay.
So there's one thing I would suggest for you in doing that. Expectation-wise, take a few minutes separate from each other and write down a list of things that you would expect from her, and she write down a list of things she would expect from you, and sit down.
But be careful that you don't make them ridiculous.
Yes. Be reasonable. Reasonable expectations. Think of it that way. So it's but just think about your household and where you're at and what you're doing. And then just so that this is just a conversation starter. This is not a conversation ender. This is a conversation starter. So in doing those two things, take some time, learn. But this is the thing I was going to say. Where you're at in your relationship, whether it be in your marriage or your work or something else, this is a good exercise that kind of helped me learn to start asking questions. When you want to make a statement, when you're about to make a statement, pause and ask a question instead. So just before you make a statement to your husband, your wife, or your significant other, or whoever it may be, or even to your kids, ask them a question and see what happens. Just see what happens. It's kind of a cool thing that goes on in that. So those are my things for unpacking. Those are a couple of things to work on. Also, if you're interested, you can send us a direct message.
Yeah, shoot us a message.
Yeah, and you can DM us, or you can catch our email is on our website, so you can reach us there. If you would like for us to send you a 2-page PDF of a link to where we did our short little personality thing, profile. And then we connected those. I found the other stuff and connected the communication styles with those personalities. I'll shoot that to you for free. If you just shoot us something, you guys can run through that with your spouse. It's a fun thing to talk through on a date too, about your personality and stuff. So there are some things that you can do. Reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you and interact with you. Please, if you know anybody who's where we're at or in a relationship and you think this is good, please share, help us spread the word. And we're so excited for. It's crazy to think this is
number 3.
Yeah, number 3, and we're already recording number 3. We're almost at 190 downloads across 46 cities.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But
we're really appreciative of everyone joining us.
Thank you guys so much. Please help share them and just keep spreading the word. Thank you guys.